I was addicted to drug addicts, not drugs.
Alcohol.
Alcohol, never did. Grew up in an alcoholic home, and I was always the one pouring the alcohol. So I became the people pleaser. I never got a taste for it.
Do you ever have a drink anymore?
I do sometimes. I can't. Wine gives me fucking migraines.
Me too.
I can't. So
white, red.
My thing is just not worth it, because I'm like, this is fucking fun. But then tomorrow night, and I'm always doing stand up at night, so I'm always just like, haven't. But tequila is what I can do and not get a headache the next day.
I did time, guys. I did a lot of bad things, but it's so weird how my mind works. When I was 17 years old, I saw a car accident. 17? I saw a car accident. I drove up on it. Me and a friend of mine, and I hit acid. And I saw a horrible experience, and I heard the yells, and I heard the screams. And they had to get the jaws of life and cut, all that shit. And I'll never forget either. The guy said something. The guy took out a bottle, and he goes, they were drinking. And that stayed with me. Like, I have a statement. I hope it doesn't offend anybody. It's 2019. If you get a DUI, just fucking kill yourself because you're that fucking stupid.
Yeah, and selfish.
I am just like a kid in New York. You hear about this thing in New York yesterday, 2 days ago? Guy went on an 8-hour shift and forgot his 2 one-year-old twins were in the car. Now, how do you forget for 8 hours that, me and my wife, and I'm like, we're to a point now where we know not to leave anything in the fucking car. No. Just don't leave anything in the car. Your dog, your cat, not even for a minute. Nothing bothers me more than when I go, Lee, do you want to ride? Or Whitney will go, Joe, do you want to ride? Yeah. And all of a sudden you go, click, click with your fucking car. Yeah. I open your car, and you want to put a suitcase in the back of the trunk. Do me a favor. Start this fucking car. Start it, and then do whatever the fuck you want. Get the air in here. For that minute, I'm sitting here like those twins.
It drives me fucking nuts.
Like those twins, I'm sitting there waiting to fucking die because you want to put that. And then your mother calls.
The twins died.
Hold on, we're here. Start the fucking car. Start the goddamn AC, and then you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can walk, talk. As long as I got the AC on. I've been with people who have said, I'm going to go inside for a minute. And they've turned off the car, and I'm like, what are you doing?
The reason I have the car I have is because I can turn my AC on while I'm walking to the car. It's on before I get in there.
Yeah.
It drives me fucking nuts.
Nothing drives me crazy.
I've worked too hard.
Than people putting me in their car and then going, hold on, I got to take something out of the trunk.
Think ahead. Think.
Start the fuck. So we all know that like, all that type of shit. Like, if you get a DUI...
Did they give him a blood test and he had been drinking? The guy that left the...
There's got to be a by the way.
There's got to be.
He was doing an 8-hour shift. So what you're telling me, I don't know. So what you're telling me is in that 8 hours, you didn't talk to your ex-wife or your wife? Your wife didn't call you and say how the babies are doing? Because I know when I'm on the road, I talk to my wife every 2 hours. How's Mercy doing? What's going on? How did she like Universal? Did the kid pick on her? Did she smack him back? I'm checking. So for 8 hours, so something had to be done. Person. When they walked out, he either was doing drugs for 8 hours, something was wrong. Passed out. Something was wrong. Mm-hmm. And I feel the same way about DUIs. I'm sorry if you're an alkie or you're recovering. I'm not here to hurt nobody's feelings, but in today's day and age, like, I'm like, I'm a dad.
One of the most powerful things I heard when I was going to AA meetings, when I was in Al-Anon, but I was going to open AA meetings, helps you understand the disease. And this woman was sharing, and she was like, everyone out driving tonight is safer because I'm in here. Hundreds of people are safer because I'm here. It's like, it just blew my mind just thinking about it. She's like, I just didn't want to kill anybody.
And I could do coke and drive. I'm Mario Andretti. You got to see me. I used to do coke, and I would do 90 down Fountain on a Thursday night. Fuck. I could smoke a joint, and I won't smoke in the car. Yeah. Very seldom do I smoke when I'm driving. Yeah. I'll smoke when we get to our destination. I'll smoke before I leave the house. I think they give us a great deal here by letting you smoke and letting you buy weed. Yeah, don't fuck it up. You got to smoke it in the fucking car, too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Now you're getting greedy.
Yeah, now we're getting greedy. Yeah. So leave the pot at home. Mm-hmm. You smoke, you go for a car ride. But the DUI, like this, I cannot even sip. I was like, maybe I should get gin and tonic with an extra lime in this bitch. Mm-hmm. My fear, because I fall apart. If a cop pulls me over, and I have alcohol in my breath, I will fall apart. I can murder somebody. You come question me. Yeah. And I'm Joe Cool. I haven't seen it. But when it comes to alcohol, I start stuttering.
Really?
Oh, my God.
Is that because your tolerance is low?
I just know the fear I get from getting pulled over with alcohol because I don't have a ground to stand on.
Oh, that's...
I've told people for years, I didn't have a license for 10 years. I got pulled over every Friday coming home from Irvine in Ontario because I'd be doing 90. No license, no California license.
What did you do?
Tell them the truth. Tell them the truth. I go, I lost it on the plane. I haven't got a chance to get my California license. They didn't smell out. They have a rule in L.A. on Fridays and Saturdays. If you're speeding, but you're a gentleman.
Really?
If you don't have alcohol in your breath, 90% of the times they'll let you go, especially after 10 o'clock.
Is that LAPD or is that...
All of it.
All of it.
They don't have time to be fucking around with
That's so true.
Well, they got to do a background check.
Yeah. I got bigger fish to fry.
They do the background check. Didn't we get pulled over together, me, you, and
Oxnard,
Eric? How cool were they?
Yeah.
I don't ever have a problem with them. Never, ever, ever. Because without alcohol in your breath on a Friday and Saturday, you don't have a leg to stand on. Because even if we go to the comedy store and Whitney says at 8:30, hey, Joey, have a tequila with me. My show got picked up. Boom. And I do the 8:30 show, when I do Joe's 10 o'clock show, and I get in the car at 12, if I get pulled over, he's going to ask me a question. I've been drinking. And then what if I tell him no, because it was 4 hours ago, and then I get out and I trip wrong. So as soon as you tell the cop yes, he's going to take you out of the car.
Yeah.
So just don't drink, and he won't take you out of the fucking car.
That's right.
You know
I don't know how people drink and do stand-up. It blows my mind that so many comics do it.
I could smoke pot, not right away, and do stand-up. The coke I learned my first year, it's not going to work.
Really? Why not?
Cocaine the night before.
So many comics did so much. I mean, we're like the first generation of comics that aren't doing cocaine, right?
We're the first generation of comics that really aren't doing anything. That's why if you have a problem today in the comedy world, like alcohol, a drug problem, your career is not going to last.
No.
Because there's so many good comics.
That's right.
That aren't causing
that are drinking
problems.
Jamba Juice and doing yoga.
For 20 years ago, Mitch was on the road causing problems. George Lopez is on the road causing problems.
What was Mitch like?
Mitch was a sweetheart. Mitch was just...
Was his comedy at the time alternative comedy? Like, did he feel... Like, could he go on stage after anybody? Do you know what I mean? Like, today, that would be considered, like, alternative comedy, don't you think?
He was alternative, but he was on a different level. His writing,
charisma.
Shit he was starting to do, turn around and not do comedy in front of him. He was just doing
Was he as a person?
stuff.
Was he...
Fun.
Really?
We
Wow.
used to play tennis every day.
What?
In 98, me, him, Stanhope would go to Gorky Park on Vista and for Fountain. There's a park there. There used to be a Russian park, and they used to sell drugs there. But me, Stanhope, Nick DiPaolo.
Oh, yeah.
Because Nick DiPaolo and Mitch Hedberg lived in the same building on Sierra Bonita and Sunset.
Oh, yeah. That's a famous building.
So you had Wolf was on Vista, then you have El Compadre, then Ralphie May was on Schrader, and then you had Sierra Bonita, you had Mitch and Nick, and then on Curzon.
The two couldn't be two more dissimilar comics.
And they were neighbors. So whenever Mitch Hedberg would play the guitar, Nick would throw bounce on the wall. He fucking hated Mitch. Like, he would torture Mitch.
Could not be more different.
And then Curzon had Doug Stanhope, which he still has that apartment there. He kept that apartment after all these years because it's rent control.
That's wild.
He will not leave that place. I went over there the other day. It's still there.
Funny.
So all those guys used to get together. We'd drink iced tea. And at 3:30, we'd go to Gorky Park. And I still remember, like, he was killing. Mitch Hedberg was already killing at the Improv. He was a big Improv guy. Laugh Factory, I kind of remember. I don't remember him at the store. But I still remember him and I having a conversation about him going to New York. And me telling him that I think it was a good idea because there's nobody else like him there. Everybody in New York talks to the audience and, you know, how you doing
And was Stephen
today?
Wright still performing it? Like, wasn't the closest thing he was stylistically was to Stephen
Wright. Stephen Wright was performing, but Mitch was just climbing.
He had like
Mitch
a swagger about him.
You know, all that shit, you know. You ever been walking down the street and the guy gives you a sign? And he's really saying, hey, you throw this away from me, you know.
Yeah.
He was just, you know, the thing about going to the restaurant,
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah,
he was
clever as shit.
He was on like a year or two roll. Then he got the big deal.
Yeah.
And this is how big the deal was. Like when they signed Mitch in Montreal, on paper, it's supposed to be the biggest deal ever given. By now, they probably broke it.
Yeah.
The interest was so high on Mitch that they closed the Improv on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday just to showcase Mitch.
To people or to industry people?
To industry.
Wow.
So everybody came back to tell their perspectives that the Mitch Hedberg train was open. It was time to write their checks.
Mm-hmm.
So Monday was showrunner, Tuesday was writers, and Wednesday was the networks. You think I'm fucking kidding you? I swear to God. That's how powerful he was.
They do not do shit like that anymore.
Fox gave him the deal. They started working him into the 70s show. Like
right. It must have been Chris Albrecht.
They were doing it right. They were doing this one. They were doing right. They were working him into
to do like a sitcom.
Yes, for Fox. They were doing it right because they take Whitney. Whitney's never done a school play. Mm-hmm. Then she goes to read the pilot, and they're like,
yeah.
Then you have a sister. The next thing you know, you're playing your sister, and you're playing something else.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
You know, so
and then you get recast by Fran Drescher. Yeah.
So there's just so many things that.
Wow.
But then he moved to New York, and that's where he was really. That's where you really think of doing all those spots in New York.
Yeah.
And he had Caroline's and all those places. It was starting to get a little foo-fooish. It was 98, 97.
And that's when Comedy Central was doing like...
Yes.
There were the specials and
tremendous.
The premium blends.
Yes, Comedy Central really had
those
him.
Comedy Central Presents was almost like the Tonight Show. If you did one, you were just huge.
And then I guess the drugs got a hold of him, and for a couple of years, you just heard stories, But I was in my own drug war. Mm-hmm. Pablo Francisco, who I dearly love, he was causing havoc.
But when you're on the road, no one
supervision
can say anything.
I still remember fucking George Lopez falling off a stool in Miami, and they couldn't do radio on Thursday and Friday. Everybody was pretty much. I still remember Attell in '99 in Miami at the Improv, opening up for him.
But also,
for the weekend.
audience, they bring you drugs. I remember talking to some comics struggling. They're like, I just got sober, but people send me shots, and the club owners give you drugs. It just seems like it was probably even harder back then.
It was very hard for a lot of people. Let's be honest. I went on the road to do drugs. I didn't go on the road to do comedy. Comedy was just how I was going to make money.
Because it just felt like you didn't have any accountability. You were on the road. You could do whatever you wanted.
I was a featurer.
Yeah.
No radio. No nothing. After I do that 20 minutes, I sit by the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I just wait for the pigeons to come out one by one. We loved you. Oh, you did? Well, what's the story? What are we going to do? Let's do a bump. I came with my boyfriend, so we'll get to Jackie. Let's get the fuck out of here. And next thing you know, I'm gone.
Yeah.
There's no responsibility. That was what I was into. I was into snorting and getting high, and comedy was 30% of that journey at that time.
It's so weird. I don't think I know anyone that does cocaine. Isn't that weird?
No.
Like, I don't know any of it. Like, not that I would call them out right now on your show, but I don't know anyone who's a stand-up that really does cocaine.
And it's out there.
I'm sure they're out there, but I don't see it.
What the fuck are you giggling about? Nobody...
Why did you like him? What did
He did an error.
I knew a second ago, but now it's... keep going from where you told it, because then...
You know that little forehead you got?